provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
I guess you can be very successful without one, and probably some people do. But I would not have accomplished anywhere near what I have accomplished without a mentor. I have had a number of mentors, and my whole life has changed dramatically. I went from going nowhere to having a business that operates all over the world. If you want to win in a big way, you want to get a mentor. It's almost like getting a direct pipeline from their mind to your mind, where you're gaining all their wisdom, all their experience, and all the studying that they've done over a number of years. And like that, you get it all in a short period of time. Are mentors important? Well, I'm going to tell you, mentors literally changed the course of my life. Let's take a look at what thinking into results is and what it could do for you, how it came about. You see, my life had changed dramatically. I went from earning nothing to earning over $1 million a year. And I was sitting one day and I was thinking, how did all this happen? Do you know, I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I was studying Earl Nightingale's material. But a lot of people have read those books and studied Earl's material. And they weren't accomplishing what I was accomplishing. So I had to ask myself, what am I doing so different? You see, I had been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I didn't think I was that bright. I was also raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't win. Well, I hadn't gone to school. I went to high school for about 2 months. I didn't have a good job. I owned the entire company. If you want to be happy, healthy, and prosperous, it's all here. Thinking into results is going to show you how to get it. If what I've said really triggered something in your mind and you're thinking maybe, contact the certified PGI consultant. Hit the button, leave the information. Do yourself a favor. Sit down and talk to them about what this program can do for you. This very well could be the decision that will change the rest of your life.
Hey, John.
Good afternoon.
John Gage is my guest today. I'm Sid Maestri. I'm a consultant with Proctor Gallagher in the Thinking and Results program. And you just got a little preview from Bob right before we came on here. Bob's an incredible guy. Was teaching personal growth, development, success for over 50 years. And the foundation for it was a little book called Think and Grow Rich. He spent 20 years interviewing around 500 people that were successful to find out what was the common success principles. And one of the things, well, this book came out in 1937, sold over 100 million copies in the last 90-something years. There's a quote from here that I like, and that's, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. So we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about the difference between the ABCs of goal setting and ABC goals, what they are. And John, you want to share a little bit your thoughts on the ABC goals?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Goals, a goal. Wow, that's almost punny. Anyhow, an A goal is something you can do. You know you can do it. It's like paying your bills every month. I pay my bills every month. That's my goal, is to pay my bills every month. That's an A goal. A B goal would be like buying that. A B goal would be like buying a house. It's something you know you can do if everything falls into place correctly. And as long as you follow the path, chances are you're going to be successful accomplishing that goal. Now, a C goal is a goal that should absolutely scare the living daylights out of you. You should be going, no way. Your family members should be going, are you crazy? Do you live in reality? That's only for special people. That's what a C goal is. But if you look at everything around you, at one point in time, everything that we see is a C goal. The fact that you and I can communicate from 3,000 miles apart in real time was a C goal at one point in time. Think about that.
I like that.
So that's what an ABC of goals are. I mean, there's a set way of, and one of the things that Napoleon Hill figured out was that there's like 6 steps that you need to take. I know you have those ready, so go ahead and explain those, Sid, and then we're going to talk about one of the things that's going to happen. Like I said, that should scare you. So we're going to talk about fear today. At least that's what I plan on talking about.
No, we're going to scare them all right. Just a quick thing. The purpose of our goals is the C goal. The purpose is to grow, and it's who you become on your journey in pursuing that goal. And which, when you reach it, it's now a foundation to go for something bigger and better, because you've got the confidence, you've achieved something that you didn't think you could do. But John and I were talking about this yesterday. What's the most difficult thing about going after a C goal? Is the first step.
Yep.
And the first step is in Think and Grow Rich here, chapter 4, auto-suggestion. And there's 6 steps to it. Number 1, to know what you want, when you want to have it or achieve it. Number 3, what you're going to do, what product or service that you're going to provide. And number 4 is your plan. And your plan can just be a couple sentences. It could be something you've been thinking about, and you've got a lot of information. But whatever the plan you have, you want to write that down when you're doing the 6th goal step. And John always likes to remind me, the goal never changes, but the plans do. And I have something to say about plans changing later on. So number 1, know what you want. 2, what you want to get it. 3, what service or product are you going to deliver to get it. Number 4 is the plan, where you're at that moment. Number 5 now is to write that into a statement, paragraph. And then you want to keep that by your nightstand. You want to read it first thing in the morning and night before you go to bed, because this repetition of doing that, where the idea came to you and it's a dream, nothing's happened. And nothing's going to happen till you take the first step and write the statement out. Now you're still thinking about it. Now we want to move into creating a burning desire for you to execute the plan. So John, tell me about your experience creating the burning desire from being a student, Bob Proctor's student, for a number of years now.
Well, creating the desire, like I said, this is something that should scare you. This goal should scare you. There's a reason for that. Part of the reason, it needs to be difficult. It needs to be something that you have to work through. Because let's face it, our biggest epiphanies, learning experiences happen when we're knocked down, when it was really tough to get through, when it's super hard to figure out. Our lives change dramatically when stuff like this happens. And let's face it, you're going to set up a C goal to change your life. So you're setting yourself up to have a difficult time and run into fear. It's just that simple. But that's one of the biggest things that people run into, and that's where most people stop. Would you agree with that?
Of course.
They hit that fear barrier, bam, they go, I'm done. They get 3 feet from the vein of gold, which is a true story, a real story that's told in Think and Grow Rich. But and we'll get to that later. But it's just so when you hear me refer to you're 3 feet away, that's what I'm referring to. At the fear barrier, you're like 3 feet away. Part of the reason you get that fear is because things are changing, and your subconscious is resisting. Because it's like, well, oh, that's uncomfortable, dude. I don't want to do that. And I can promise you from experience that the fear barrier really does happen. There are certain times it's exceptionally terrifying. And pushing through it will give you the result you're looking. And what I mean by that, and if you don't mind, may I share? Well, you asked me to share, but I'd really like. This is really personal, so if there's emotion, please understand. But I want everybody to understand how the fear barrier works and how it changes your life for the better. I was originally married for 30 years. That's when you and I met. I was still married. I was married for several years after we met. And, I'm not going to go into the reasons why, but divorce happened. Things started falling apart. It got real difficult. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to do with my life because what I thought was going to be the rest of my life is no longer there. I'm dealing with, and this is right around COVID. So, I catch COVID and I'm in bed for months with that. I heal from that. I have I'm working from home. Then I started getting real sick. In 2021, I was in the hospital 8 times. I was taking care of my mother who was elderly. She ended up getting sick in that process. And I was so sick I couldn't work. And so I lost my job from home because I just couldn't do it, and FMLA ran out. So I'm struggling to pay bills. I do have a roommate, but my roommate only makes a limited funds. And mom's in the hospital, and I can't take care of her because I'm so sick. I'm on oxygen. I'm on, I can barely walk. Then the house that I'm renting gets sold out from underneath us. We give 30 days to move, and this is in Las Vegas. And mom's in the hospital. She's not coming home because she lost the ability to walk. I won't tell you why because it's controversial, but I can't work. I'm driving Uber as often as I can. It's very difficult to do, but I'm making a little bit of money. My roommate can only work so much overtime, and we have to find a place to live. We finally find a place to live, and we have to come up with almost $10,000 to move because there's this fee, that fee. We had to pay this deposit and that deposit, and I was like, holy cow, where am I going to come up with this money? And I'm in and out of the hospital. I'm not working. I'm not able to do much physically because my body is breaking down. I'm at a loss for what to do. All they could do is put the plan to work. And I'm telling you what, I had trouble sleeping. There were times I just sat in front of the computer screen going, I don't know what to do. Yes,
Can
sir.
I interrupt for a moment? Is that when your hair started falling out?
Well, I started shaving it before that, so you really don't know. But boy, I'm pretty sure it did. Um, and I just said, okay. Thinking into results, I'm going over the lessons again, really focusing my mind on the lessons and staying positive, which isn't easy to do. And this fear barrier I was forced to go through. We managed to come up with the money to move. I can't get everything moved. The company that was going to come in and move all of our stuff for us canceled at the last minute. And I can't do anything. So, it's like crazy. And then right after we get moved, it's like a month and a half after we get moved, I go in the hospital for 2 months because all this just made me really, really just made me sicker. I kept getting worse and worse. And that first week in the hospital, I don't even remember because I went into a coma. And I was in that for a week trying to figure out, I was fighting demons inside me. There were things going on in my head because of the drug that they were using. I'm pretty sure that might have had part of what was going on. And I spent the next 2 months just learning how to breathe again. They almost amputated my legs from the knees down. There was time I thought, you know what, it might just be better just to let it happen. And, at the time I was talking to my current wife still. And we had been talking for a couple of years. And she lived in Pennsylvania and I lived in Las Vegas. So, it wasn't like we physically saw each other. So we're sitting here talking and I'm spending all this time in the hospital. I finally get to where I'm off the feeding tube. I'm starting to get a little bit. And at one point, I just said, you know what? I have to just work through this. There were so many days I wanted to quit. Sid, I just wanted to give up and not be on this planet anymore. I didn't talk to anybody. Two of my best friends in Las Vegas said, I asked them for help. They basically said, sorry, figure it out, literally. And I ended up having to rely on my ex-wife of all things to get my car back to my apartment from the hospital. And that's all I wanted them to do was get my car back. That's all I asked them to do, and they said no. So, which wasn't easy. But I'll never forget this date. March 18th, 2022 is when I got out of the hospital. My now wife, absolutely amazing, beautiful woman, tells me she's going to come see me in about a month. And when I get out of the hospital, they tell me I'm going to be on 9 liters of oxygen. For those of you out there, anything, 9 liters of oxygen all day long is a death sentence. But I wouldn't be able to walk without some sort of assistance, like a walker, again. And I had to make a decision at that point. I'm like, you know what? I have to do this. I'm scared to death, but I have to do this. So I got off the oxygen. I started going, what does it take? What do I need to do to get my lungs back where they belong? Started watching videos, and it's amazing once you release and you push through that barrier. It's amazing what starts to happen. You get through that fear barrier, you decide that fear barrier just isn't it's the least of your worries at this point. And you know, if I go through that fear barrier, things are going to get better. It is amazing what starts coming to you when you start practicing what's in thinking into results. Put it into practice. I started getting better. I got to where I was off the oxygen and could work. So I started driving Uber in Las Vegas, which, by the way, people, not advisable, a little crazy to do, but hey, it pays well. And but I'd have to work 12 hours a day, but I was making, good money. I was making 1,500 a week at least on a slow week. But it was a lot of work. And I slowly started doing that. My now wife showed up like she promised. We dated. We went on a couple of dates. I didn't even kiss. Okay. But I started changing internally because I realized that I needed to change who I was and how I thought in order to overcome this. Because as I was changing and as I was thinking, as I was pushing through this barrier, it doesn't go away, but it does get easier. As I'm going through this barrier and I'm going, oh, I had to keep a book with me because ideas would start coming and I'd have to pull over and write them down. Thank God it didn't happen too often when I had somebody in the car. But I would pull over and write my ideas down, and then I would look for these. And I started doing breathing exercises, which I still practice today. I started doing, these little miniature, small exercises you could do sitting down to strengthen your legs. I started getting blood flow below the knees, and now my legs were so discolored they were almost the color of this shirt. Now they're almost back to normal color. 3 years later, because I started practicing things that would work.
John, if I can interrupt for a second, tell us a little bit about about your wonderful wife, Liz.
I was actually just getting to that.
And where you're at now, the fear that you had to get to the point you are now in that relationship.
Yeah. So after Liz went home, we continued to talk. We talked every day, and we finally decided that we were going to actually get together. Then we decided that we're going to get married. Now you got to understand, I have some trust issues. I have 30 years worth of junk I've collected, and I'm thinking about moving 3,000 miles away. So I'm like, I don't know. What if it doesn't work out? What if I get there and she decides that it's not a thing?
Get where?
Get to Jacksonville, Florida, where we're living. And I drove all the way here. I left everything with the exception of the computer and what you see behind me, literally. Well, of my glasses. My computer and what you see behind me is all I brought. And with the faith that she's going to be there for me and we can build a life. If not, I wasn't sure what I was going to do at all and where I would be going. I mean, there was a lot of question. That builds turmoil. And the whole time I'm driving here, because I drove here the whole way, yeah, we talked, but the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, this is going to work out. This is going to work out. I still felt that fear, but the closer I got, the better I felt. And it was the best decision I ever made. But I'll tell you right now, it was scary as all get out, dude. I did not know Not knowing is just horrible. My stomach was tore up all the time. I'm like, man, that's a long way to drive and leave everything that I'd accumulated over 30 years. Huh? And, you know, my adult children, I have one that's accepted it, one that hasn't. So it's still one of those things where there's family members. Remember, I told you, family members will accept or not accept certain things you do. And I'm not going to go into detail, but just understand that one of my adult children rarely talks to me and has never even attempted to meet my wife, who is one of the most beautiful, loving, amazing, intelligent women I've ever communicated with. And it's an honor for me to be in the position I am with her. And then I have another child that has gone out of their way to pay to come down and see us, meet their step siblings, and do their best to accept everything. But, it's kind of hard when you got one child that won't even communicate it, and they're mad at you for doing it. And and all you want to do is be happy for the rest of your life. I choose happiness. It's still not easy at times because of some of these things that happen.
Well,
So
John,
the barrier is real, but it's worth pushing through because of what's at the other side.
John, I like your story because I've known you since before the old you and all the things you've been through. And I haven't met Liz yet, your wonderful wife. I will be out to see you in June, and I'm looking forward to that. But I want to read a little quote I have here about being committed.
Okay.
And the difference between interested and committed. When you're interested in doing something, you do what's convenient. When you're committed to do whatever it takes that's legal.
I'm committed to this relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So here's when you were committed, going to make that change. Until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. And that is, the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occurred to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. I like to use the expression, when you know what you want, particularly if you write it down,
Right.
and you're committed, the universe conspires to help you get what you want.
And it does, absolutely.
So I see.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to wrap it up here. Did you have a final thing?
I just wanted to say that, when you do the see goal, you're creating that fear barrier. It's going to happen because you're creating something you've never done before. So you're going to have to do things that you've never done before, and that gets uncomfortable. And we're creatures that love our comfort.
Yes, sir.
Get uncomfortable.
Okay.
That's my only advice. Get uncomfortable.
Thank you, John. You can reach me at sidmaestri.com, and that's the website. You can also email me at sid@sidmaestri.com. Gives you the big picture on what Thinking in Results is all about. I'd love to get some feedback on what our podcast today. Have any questions? We could set up a time to do a little chat, go online, and see if I can help you. So until next week, have a great day. You can go out and buy Think and Grow Rich. You can just go to YouTube, and there's people reading it. And it makes a difference. It's made a difference in my life, and it's changed John's life. And that's what the basis of all that we're teaching you, that Bob Proctor has brought to share with the world. So until next week, have a good day. I'd like to say namaste.
Namaste.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.